I bet a few of you are wondering how I'm able to stay in Italy for more than 90 days, not being an Italian citizen or a citizen of another EU country. So we thought we'd share with you today how that's become possible for me, as this week I was able to pick up my Permesso di Soggiorno Italiano card, which means I'm now legally allowed to stay in Italy, and they gave me for 5 years. So, which is absolutely great. So, should I decide, to go and work or anything like that, I'm able to do it. I'm able to come and go from the country as I please. There are restrictions around how long I'm allowed to be out of the country, but they're quite lengthy. So if we were to go home to Australia, for example, for a month, no problem. If we were to go to a country out of the EU for a holiday, no problem. So that allows me to do all of those things, but most importantly, stay here in Italy. So my journey, and I stress the word my, because everyone's experience in this will be a little bit different based on their own personal circumstances. So before we left Australia, I was going through the websites of the consulate, Googling stuff to try and work out how I could stay in Italy for the period of time that we wanted. There was a whole lot of different visa options available to me, and I knew I potentially eventually wanted to work here in Italy. So I was a little bit unsure what to do. We were referred by a friend to a immigration lawyer, Studio Arletti. We'll link with their details in the description box below. That was the best 30-minute phone call we'd ever had, because they straight away said, Phil's an Italian citizen, you're entitled to come as his spouse, and you need to apply for your permesso. So that made it very, very easy for me. They gave us the option, they told us what we had to do when we got here, or they also gave us the option, if that we didn't want to manage it ourselves, that they could manage it for us. And we did go with the second option, just because of the bureaucracy here in Italy and understanding the language. So we had a 30-minute phone call with them back in Australia. They outlined everything for us. And as I said, we took up the you manage it for us option. So the steps to get my Permesso di Soggiorno. So first of all, before my 90 days were up here in Italy, I needed to collect a form from the local post office. And that had to be filled in. And then I had to provide a whole lot of documents with that form when I submitted it. Now, there was two options on submitting the form. I could have either made an appointment and gone to the immigration office in Arezzo, but unfortunately they had no available appointments before my 90 days was going to be up. So we took the second option, and also the easier option, and we just dropped it in at the local post office here in Cortona. So when I dropped it off, I had to have a whole lot of documentation. First was Phil's passport to show that he's an Italian citizen. Then my passport, then my birth certificate, my marriage to Phil's certificate. That also needed to have a government apostille on it, and it also required to be translated here in Italy. Then I needed to also provide them evidence of the house that we'd bought, so documents to show that we now own the home. Phil's residency paperwork, so once you become, even though he's an Italian citizen, he also needed to show that he's a resident of Cortona. And lastly, I needed to show our income, our bank statements, because it needed to show that Phil could support me here in Italy. So bundled all that up together and took it to the local post office. And one of the services provided by Studio Arletti is that they send along a representative of theirs to act as a translator at that appointment, which was fantastic. The appointment at the post office was reasonably easy. I'm glad I had my translator with me, Maria Grazia. Grazie, Maria, for all your help. Because, um, oh, you know, this question, that question, payment for this, payment for that, was a little bit confusing. I needed to get from the local tabacaria a stamp duty before I went, so I had to do that. And then I also had to pay for obviously a couple of, I think it was €70 in total, for my application, in two separate payments. So they did that. They took all my paperwork. They checked my paperwork. They made sure I had all the necessary evidence and made my follow-up appointment on the spot with the immigration office in Arezzo. So I dropped my paperwork off mid-December. My next follow-up appointment in Arezzo was for mid-May. So as you can see, the length of time that you're waiting to get the next appointment. Now, when I left, they gave me a piece of paper that proved that I was evidence for me to carry around with me, to show that I'd submitted this paperwork. Because if I was stopped by the local police officer or stopped on the train, which I have been, and asked to show my paperwork, I need to prove that I'm allowed to stay in Italy whilst my permesso is being granted. So I took all that home and then just waited till my next appointment. So fast forward to May, I went into the local immigration office in Arezzo. I had to take all my receipts from the post office. That's one thing that a lot of people forget, is they forget to take the receipts, and then they get to the Arezzo get to their local immigration office and they get turned away. So if you're doing this, just make sure that what you do is everything the post office gives you, keep together in a plastic folder or an envelope and just take it with you every step of the way, because trust me, you're going to need something that the post office has given you at some point in time. So went off with all my paperwork. They just checked my passport again, Phil's passport. They didn't ask for any extra evidence because I'd submitted satisfactory evidence at the first appointment here in Cortona when I dropped off my application form. I went into another room. A policeman checked my height, took fingerprints, asked a few questions of Phil and I about how long we've been married, and that was it. And then told, we'll let you know when your permisso's through. So last Friday, I received the infamous text message to say, come down to the immigration office and pick up your card. So my permisso came through really, really quickly. We were told to expect another 2 months. It took less than a month. So we were really, really impressed. And yeah, so now I've got my little card that I carry around with me everywhere. So if I go on holidays, if we duck anywhere, even within the Eurozone, I have to take this card. So just as a bit of a side story, I went to Spain a few weeks ago and I got stopped at the gates and asked, why are you still in Europe and you're here on a tourist visa? So I got out my piece of paper that I was given at the post office and showed that I'd started the application. So that's really important to carry that piece of paper around. I'd been stopped twice now, once on the train and once on the plane. So it's really important to follow through with what you need to carry around with you. So now that I've got my card, I don't need to worry about carrying around a big A4 piece of paper. So I've got my permisso, it's all through. I can now stay for 5 years. And as I said at the beginning, we can come in and out of Italy, come in and out of the Eurozone. It doesn't matter. I just can't be away for any more than 6 months, I think, in one period of time. So all in all, a nice, easy process, but made easier with the help of Studio Aleti helping me along the way. So thanks to Sophia and the team, and also Maria Grazia, my translator, or my interpreter, sorry. So all in all, a great experience. See ya. Hope this helps.